What's kicking? Thank you guys for joining. Just gotta move this screen here. Oh my God. All right. Thank you for joining. Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of this text thing here. All right, we are unboxing prototype cleats from soccer.com. Really excited for this. I have the box right here. I have not cut it open yet. So soccer.com hit me up. They said, can we send you these new prototype cleats? I said, sure. I'm gonna do the unboxing here live with you guys, and 100% genuine reaction. I don't know what these boots look like. All I know is that they're from Puma. They're Puma cleats, and they're not available yet. These cleats are not available yet, so this is gonna be one of the first unboxings, in-hand boot review opening that you're gonna see for this cleat, this prototype for this cleat, so I'm excited for that. But first, this is Ask Deej, and this is where I answer your questions every month, and I'm gonna start off by answering 5 of the top questions that I get all the time. Last month in June, I answered 5 basic questions like where I live, who inspires me, and things like that. So if you're curious at some of those questions from last time, you can check that previous video. But for right now, I'm gonna get started with question 1 of the most common questions I get asked, and that is, who is my favorite player? So I have 2 answers. One of my answers is all-time. My all-time favorite player is Andres Iniesta, who played for Spanish national team and mostly for Barcelona, and recently he played in Japan, the J-League. I love watching him play. I played a lot of central midfield growing up, and I just love the way that he saw the game. I love the way he controlled the ball and just would never turn the ball over, no matter what situation he was in, would always find the best pass and retain possession and build up play to create goal scoring chances. So I loved watching him play. And right now, my current favorite player is Mbappe, won the World Cup 2 years ago, and has just been pretty consistently strong, young, promising player. Could potentially be the GOAT, could potentially surpass the Ronaldos and the Messis and be all-time. I love the way he plays and just goes at opponents, very aggressive in the attack, takes people on, and I love to see that. I like to see that he's a very kind of robust athlete, but at the same time, he demonstrates a lot of cool skills. He's tried to score Rabonas in games, and I love seeing that combination. Question 2, some of the questions that I get asked all the time, one of the big ones is how tall I am. If you go on Google and type DJ Diveny, one of the top results that'll come up after just my name will be like DJ Diveny height, DJ Diveny team, DJ Diveny, like the top one will be DJ Diveny height. I am 5 feet 5 inches tall, which is I think like 1.6 meters or 1.7, something like that. But anyways, for reference, because some of y'all don't believe me when I tell you, I've had a video that went viral where I was jumping for headers, and I said I'm 5'5", and people don't believe me, or people make fun of me for being short. Ultimately, I am 5'5". This is like a 4 foot, or like 1.5 meters, or less than 1.5 meters broomstick. This is it on the floor, and it's at my chest. So maybe 1.5 feet taller than that, 5'5", and if you go to my bio from my college team online, you can actually see my height on there is 5'6". When I wear cleats, I'm a little bit taller. So I just type in NJIT DJ Diveny, Google that, first result, men's soccer. Let's see. So right here, you can see, I don't know if it's backwards, but you can see my profile from my college team, and it says height 5'6". So for those of you who are wondering, I am short, pretty good athlete, but very compact. I'm 5'5", 5'6" inches tall. Third common question that I get asked all the time. I'm gonna try to get through these fast, guys, so we can get to this package, we can get to this unboxing. But first, question 3 is, what is my favorite trick? I get asked this all the time. Especially when I'm in front of a live audience. Show us your favorite trick, show us your best trick. Couple answers for this one. My favorite trick or favorite skill move to use in a game is a flip flap or an inside out elastico. So you start with like an inside touch and then an outside touch past the defender. Two very sharp cuts, kind of like what Ronaldinho does, but to the outside. My favorite freestyle move to do is probably my scorpion stall or my scorpion catch, which is where I catch the ball on my neck while I jump into a handstand. If you haven't seen that before, I have a video of it on my YouTube channel under like tricks in slow motion. And I also post that move pretty frequently on my pages. Let's see, question number 4. Great question. I get this one a lot too. What kind of ball do I use? So I play Division I college soccer. I love playing street soccer. I love playing futsal, and I'm a professional freestyler, which means I do crazy skills with the ball for events, commercials, performances, competitions, now, etc. And for me, my favorite to use is a regular match ball. I can juggle with pretty much anything. I could probably juggle this box if I really wanted to, this pair of scissors, but I'm not going to try that on here. My favorite to use is a match ball. This is the 2015 Adidas match ball. The nice thing about these is I can use them for regular gameplay, trick shots, driven balls, regular training, but it's also very good to use for freestyle. It has a nice grip texture on it, and that helps you control the ball a bit better. Also, when you deflate these slightly, it's really good grip for a lot of blocking moves and other freestyle combinations. If you want to get a little more b-boy style and grip the ball more, I use a grip ball. This is the white urban ball by Sion Garnier. Pretty inexpensive option. It's harder to juggle and kick, but it's better for doing like combination moves between your legs and also ground moves with your feet. So those are the two main balls that I use. I use a grip ball, the urban ball, or I use a match ball. The ball that I normally use is in my car. It's a 2018 MLS ball. That's my favorite to train with right now. And the last common question before we move on to your questions specifically is, how often do I practice? I get asked this all the time, whether it's in a comment, DM, or in person. People always want to know, they see me do skills and they say, well, you must practice a lot. How much do you practice? And ultimately, I don't practice that much anymore because as an athlete, I'm a bit older and I can't go hard every single day. But what I always tell people is that from 2015 through 2016, I probably practiced about 3 hours a day hard. Every day, almost every day throughout the whole entire year for those 2 years. And that's where I developed most of my skills in freestyle. Before that, I was spending all my time practicing regular football, where I was spending about 20 hours a week in training with my teams and on my own at school. So I used to practice about 3 hours a day, give or take, when I was in my peak. Now that I've kind of established myself and I'm kind of limited physically, I can't go hard every single day because I'll just build up injuries. The reason for that is when you're attempting like new tricks, you end up doing these awkward movements. And when you do that awkward movement hundreds and hundreds of times to learn something and improve something, you end up tweaking these muscles that you didn't know you had. So there's only so many times that I can attempt doing certain movements with my body before it starts to hurt. So I have to kind of be careful with how much time that I put in. On top of that, rest is very important for you. So currently I am training 3 days a week for about 2 hours each session. I train usually on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for about 2 hours. So that means today is Monday and it's a training day. So after this unboxing, I'm gonna be heading to the turf to test these out and freestyle to get ready for the Red Bull World Finals. I have to submit my stage 2 video, so I'll be working on that for 2 hours this afternoon. All right, we're almost there. I promise we are getting closer, but I'm answering 5 fan questions right now. So instead of answering these like general questions, I'm just gonna be calling out a few people who asked me something specific that kind of resonated with me and that I wanted to answer in more detail. I made this video playlist, this kind of podcast, for the purpose of answering these general questions so that I can just direct people to my answers. People ask me all the time, who's your favorite player? So now I just say link in bio or watch Ask Deej on my YouTube. And this way people can learn more about me without me having to answer every single person, every single question. So my favorite fan questions from this month is number 1 from Jordan Rossicher. Sorry if I get your name wrong or your handle, because I'm just reading off the screen what it looks like. And they said, how has being a soccer player helped shape you as a person? So how has soccer made me a better person or made me who I am? And this is a great question, and I think this is a useful answer to anyone in anything they're doing in life. I think it's very important to have a passion or a hobby or ambition towards a specific craft to give yourself a sense of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness with what you're doing in your day-to-day life. And for me, that's become soccer since I was a little kid, and now more specifically freestyle football and creating cool videos for you. And the way that it shaped me as a person is the same way that it shapes most people, the same way that sports shape most people. It helps build your character. It teaches you lessons about winning and losing. It teaches you lessons about working hard, staying disciplined, understanding, what it takes to find success, how many times you have to fail to succeed. And growing up playing soccer my whole life, you train for that goal of winning. You train for that goal of performing well. And there's always obstacles along the way. There's people telling you that you won't succeed, people doubting you. There's injuries that you might have to overcome. There's self-doubt that you might not believe you're good enough. There's physically people that will hold you back in training, that will try to stop you, and you have to get past them. And then when you're playing on a team, you have to come together and work as a unit. And it's the same thing if you have a job or you have a project. You're always going to need some form of help. It's impossible to do anything by yourself. So for me, soccer has shaped me as a person to understand that even if you're doing something that seems like it's for you, for individual, it's important to seek out help and help others in as many ways as possible. So for me, sports has been my whole life since I was a kid, and it's taught me everything about being a good teammate and a good person. And I would be, so much different if I hadn't found sports and been put into sports at a young age and stayed with it. So whether you're doing soccer or basketball, or even if you're part of a club or a group, really cherish those, environments and the opportunities that you have to learn from your mistakes, from your success, and to also learn and help others. So learn from others, help others as much as you can, and you're always going to see personal growth out of that. Great question, Jordan. Thank you for that one. If you guys have specific questions like that you want to find out from me, you can ask them in the comments on this video so I can use them in next month's episode. 4 more questions, and then we are unboxing this prototype pair of cleats soccer.com sent me. Puma cleats, not on the market yet. Really excited. But first we have a question from Taco Cats. Her name is actually Mad. She was in one of my training classes in May where we were learning soccer virtually through Zoom, which was really cool. And she made a lot of progress there. And she asked, how did you get noticed by colleges for soccer? So this is a great question and a really helpful question to any youth players watching this video or even parents watching this video. You probably see my page now and you must think to yourself, oh, he played college soccer. He was probably one of the top recruited players in the country. That is absolutely not true. I was not recruited to play for any college when I was in high school. Not a single college approached me, asked me to come visit their school, asked me to play for them. Not a single university in the country asked me. Not Division I, not Division II, not Division III. And I know that might be hard to believe, and I was a good player growing up. I was a good player in high school. I had, the all-states and the captains and the MVPs and that stuff. But ultimately, I didn't do the things that I needed to do to get recruited as a player. And what I mean by that is, as a player, you need to market yourself to coaches, colleges, universities, starting as a freshman, sophomore, and especially as a junior. And I kind of didn't do that well enough, and I didn't have a highlight video. I didn't have college showcases to invite college coaches to. And if I did go to showcases, I didn't realize that I needed to seek out colleges that I wanted to come watch me. I just thought it was going to be like a career fair where you show up and they recruit you. and I was completely misguided on that, completely misunderstood that, and because of that, I wasn't recruited to play anywhere. So my advice to you is to make sure you're on these websites like Max Preps and the other ones for soccer that you can put in your stats and your videos. Make sure you have a highlight video, and make sure you start reaching out to colleges so that they know you exist. Otherwise, unless you're a phenom, unless you're scoring 10 goals a game, they're probably not going to hear about you. So very important, find the schools that you want to go to, get in touch with those coaches and have them come watch you play. Or if they can't, send them good videos. If you need help with your highlight videos, you can ask me questions about them, or I would just Google or YouTube how to make soccer highlight video for college. And that way you can get a head start on getting recruited and not make the same mistakes I did. Now you're probably wondering, well, don't you always say that you played Division I soccer? I did. I decided to go to the New Jersey Institute of Technology to pursue a career in architecture and design. And I did that for a number of reasons. The main one was I wanted to be an architect when I was younger. And so that was my main check mark to kind of seek out colleges for. There's not a ton of universities with architecture programs, and the ones that there are, most of them only have Division I soccer. So that kind of limited my opportunities. I had to go to a higher level program in order to pursue that education. And I chose NJIT for other reasons, like the cost of tuition. It was an in-state public school, so the tuition was lower compared to going out of state to a private school. Would have been 2 or 3 times as much. And basically for me and my family, it was the most economical choice. And then the third was distance. I was about an hour 15 minutes from home. So it was good distance where I could be out on my own, close to New York City, but also close enough to home that if my parents wanted to come to the school to visit, or when I was on the team to watch me play, they could. Or if I was tired from school or I wanted to visit home, I could hop in my car and just drive across the state pretty easily. Now, the way that I got onto the team, I've told this story probably 100 times. There's other videos of me talking about it, but I'll give you the short version, and that is I tried to walk on. There was like a 30-minute, in-school trial for players already at the school that weren't on the team. The problem is the trial is at the beginning of September, but the team's already been training since the beginning of August. So you're already late. You're already missing out. And so effectively, if you're not going to be the Messi or the Ronaldo of the team and immediately impact the roster, you're not going to be brought onto a team that already has 30 players. So I tried to walk on after one of my architecture critiques, basically examinations, and I didn't get on. The coach brought me into the office and said that I wasn't ready, and he said to try again in the spring. Flash forward 6 months later to the spring, that coach was let go and a new coach was brought into the program, and he only had really like a few months to recruit players. So he ended up being behind in a situation where there was a lot of players lost to graduation, injury, scholarship, and the coaching change. And so because of that, I approached the athletic director to make sure there would be another trial at the end of the spring. I tried out with about 30 other players at the school, 30 other students at the school, and I was one of the main players to be selected to join essentially as a practice player on NJIT's Division I program. I had 2 other colleagues that joined as well, and it was very difficult to earn minutes, but I eventually got into a few games, and then a year or 2 later, I played in almost every match, and then my senior year I was a captain. Although I didn't play in that many games, I kind of climbed the ladder and proved myself as a college athlete, but it took a ton of work and it took quite a bit of luck as well. So I love that question. Thank you, Maj, for that. That's a great one and a great story. And the lesson in that story is to just keep going. Like I said about soccer shaping my life, it's like that's a huge obstacle when I have this dream of playing Division I soccer and it's kind of shot down immediately on the first day, right? It's shot down before I even got there because I wasn't recruited. But I didn't give up. I decided that I needed to accomplish that goal, and I just kept pushing until I got there. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes you get luckier and it can be quicker. But the point is to just keep going if you believe in your dream, no matter what. Third question from Dan Redwine. He says, how do you stay present when under pressure to perform? How do you get in your zone and stay there consistently? This is an awesome question, a very specific question that talks about performance. So specifically maybe when you're playing in a match or when I'm performing for a large audience where there's a lot of pressure for me to perform well. And you probably experience this when you have a match or a game or you have an exam. How do you get in the zone? So when we talk about the zone, it's kind of this mental state where you have a certain amount of confidence and a certain amount of focus to achieve a task. And when you're playing, that's being able to move and perform well and play with the team or make a skill or move on a defender, create chances, or when I'm performing to not make mistakes, not drop the ball, and to entertain a crowd. The way that I get into my zone and stay there consistently is just through experience. So, I was always a confident player, but as I got to the higher levels, I remember getting more nervous because there was more pressure. It was harder. I wasn't as good compared to the other players. It was very even, or the other players were better than me. But you have to just put yourself out there, jump into the deep end, and just get used to failure and making mistakes, and always focus on the next play. This is a talk that I like to give for schools and clubs for motivational speaking. And the next play is all about just focusing on the future. You can't change whatever just happened, whether you missed the ball or you got a yellow card or your team got scored on. The only thing you can change is what happens next. It's the only thing you can affect. So the way that I stay in my zone is just focusing on that. I don't think about what's happened or the moment that I'm even in. I think about continuing forward. Whether that's performing a show or playing a game, whatever happens, I'm just thinking about that next movement, that next reaction, that next trick, and trying to pull that one off. No matter what, everyone makes mistakes. So, worrying about making a mistake is just going to make you more hesitant and more likely to make them. So to have that confidence, just concentrate on the next play every time. All right. Fourth question from Rudzai. How many around the worlds can you do in a minute? I haven't timed myself on this, but my record for the around the worlds in a row, like going one direction around the ball over and over again, I think is 23, which isn't super high. There's a lot of guys who do way more than that, and I think the world record for the most around the worlds in 1 minute is either like 81 or 85 around the worlds. I know John Farnsworth beat it at one point, and I think someone beat his record since then, but it's about 4 times as many as I can do in a row. So in a minute, if I took breaks, I could probably do like 30 around the worlds. Last question, and then we are unboxing these prototype Puma cleats from soccer.com. So bear with me. This is a great question from Mohammed Zeg. And he said, can I train freestyle and regular football at the same time? This is a great question, and this is something that I have always struggled with. When I was a youth player, I was so focused on becoming a pro player, so all of my time was really concentrated on working on my dribbling, working on my passing, working on my decision making, my finishing, my long balls, my defending, team play, positioning, tactics. And so because I was investing all that time in there, you have less time, energy, physicality to spend on something like freestyle or another sport or another discipline. So you absolutely can do both at the same time. You just have to be careful at managing how much of each thing you do. If you do too much of both, you're going to get too tired and burnt out physically, and that can cause injuries and a lack in performance. If you do one significantly more than the other, you're going to make progress here, but not so much progress over here. So if you want to do freestyle and regular football at the same time, I recommend practicing a little bit of freestyle before your warm-up and after your cool down, but limiting that time so that you don't pick up injuries before and after training. I would say maybe 10 minutes is good before your team warm-up, so you start with a little bit of juggling, start with a few tricks, and just practice for 10 to 20 minutes a day on your freestyle while focusing on regular football. Or you can do the opposite. I have a friend and colleague, Nick Seda from New Jersey, and he quit playing soccer at like 13 and just freestyles full time. And at 15, he already makes some money performing shows and doing social media on his own at 15 years old. So there is that pathway now for freestyle, the way I've done it and the way some others have done it through the social media channels, through event performances, where you don't need to become a professional soccer player, but you can do both. Just understand that if you try to do both, you probably won't become the best in either, right? So Messi is the best soccer player in the world because all he does 24/7 is eat, sleep, and breathe football. That's why he's so good at football. I could beat Messi in a freestyle battle right now, but that's only because I invest my time in freestyling and he invests his time in regular football. If I were to play football right now, I wouldn't be able to compete against someone like Messi because I'm not at their level. I haven't sacrificed my life to be that good at that sport, let alone be talented as they are. So you can practice both, but just understand that you might not become the best at both. You might have to choose one or the other if you want to get to the top. All right, so that was the top 5 questions from July. Leave your questions in the comments below, and I'll choose the best ones to answer in August on Ask Deej. Now, it is time to unbox the prototype cleats that I got shipped out from soccer.com, Puma shoes. I don't know what they look like. All I know is that they're prototypes and they're not on the market yet. So here we go. Got the scissors. Let's do it. This action to me is so satisfying. I actually prefer a regular box like this. Sometimes brands will send seeding kits or packages to me for like influencing, where you know they may pay me to post something and they have this fancy box. Actually, I have one literally right here. This box was from Manscaped. I did a sponsorship for them, and they have this box where you like tear this strip and it just opens. It's cool, and I don't need scissors, but this movement of cutting the box open is honestly so satisfying. So like I prefer, look at this. Oh, you just rip that box open, it feels so good. It's like you know you got something in here and you're like tearing it open, excited about it. All right, here we go. Got some bubble wrap, gotta keep them safe. Hey. Okay, so like I said, I know they're from Puma. Soccer.com shipped these out, but I have not seen these cleats yet. I've tried really hard not to look at any socials or like news reviews for soccer cleats, but all I know is that these are available next month. They're not even available yet, but I'm one of the first people to have them, and this is one of the first looks that anyone will get to see. We got Puma box here with the speed, agility, and spirit. Puma. So I guess these cleats are all about being fast. Excited for this. Woo! Damn. Look at that. Take that in. These feel so good. So these are like the Puma speed boots. Like I said, this is a prototype, so take a good look there. I think these are going to be called the Ultras, or the Ultra, built for speed. Really sick. Test phase 4. So again, this is a prototype boot. These are not available yet. How cool are these though? Damn. Speed prototypes from Puma. Look at these. Tell me what you think, your first impression in the comments. Puma speed boots, Puma Ultras, not released yet, prototypes. I don't know if the final boot will actually look like this. I don't imagine it will have like this on it. It says like prototype on the side. Really, really nice. So I've had Pumas in the past. I've done campaigns for Pumas in the past when they launch boots for my Instagram. And I actually have a pair of the Futures right here. So just comparing these like side by side, I feel like the Futures are a little bit bulkier and they're slightly heavier. So these are a bit heavier and kind of like chunkier than these Ultras, these speed boots from Puma. And like I said, I'm going to be taking these out today for a spin. I have a freestyle training session later, so I'm going to be bringing these with me and testing them out. Interesting, on the inside, they have some kind of nano grip insole, so it looks like a much thinner insole than other boots. I don't think they're removable, so it's a tiny, I'll bring them closer here. So you can see the inside, and this is very, you can feel it if you touch it, it's very thin. You can feel like the bottom of the boot a little bit, which some people might not like, but fun fact about me, I actually wore my boots in college without insoles altogether. My feet could literally feel the studs on the bottom, which is not necessarily good for your feet or your legs, but that was the way I liked the feel of the boot on my feet, and I felt like I could feel the ball and touch the ball better. So this kind of feels like that in a softer way, where your foot is just closer to the ground. And you can feel, the carbon fiber. It's very tight, kind of like the other ones, but much lighter and softer outsole. So I'm excited to test these out. I like light boots. I like feeling fast, especially for even just doing tricks. If I have cleats on, it's nicer to have a lighter boot because it's just easier to move your legs around. So I'm excited to test these. Shout out to soccer.com for sending these Puma spikes over. Unreleased Puma Ultra prototypes. I think these are coming out in about a month. And I was fortunate enough to be one of the first people to have these boots. Probably the only others that have the real boots are like the Griezmanns and the Agueros of the world that are sponsored by Puma. So pretty cool. Shout outs again. They have a nice coarse lace. Let's see what this says. So the only thing that this says is that there's a chrome finish on the plate. I don't really understand that, but it says it may wear off. I don't think this is the chrome finish. This might be for the upcoming boots. But yeah, these are sick. These are a size 8.5 US that fit me. So hit me up if you want them, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna test these out. I'm gonna see how they go, and hopefully they fit my feet better than the Puma ones and the Puma Futures. These cleats I don't really wear because they would hurt my feet on the outside right here. But I'm hoping these are built a little bit more like a vapor type boot. They're much lighter, they're much more sleek, and I'm hoping that these fit my feet a lot better. The toe box is more similar to like the Puma ones, which were a little bit more comfortable for me. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. Keep watching my Instagram, my stories, and my TikToks to see me using these in action, doing some cool skills. And I will see you next time on Ask Deej in August. Drop your questions for August in the comments. Also, maybe drop your shoe size. You never know if they want me to do a giveaway at some point for a campaign. So drop your shoe size just in case that you could win a pair. Who knows? I'm not saying I'm doing a giveaway. I'm just saying if I do, it'll be good to have your shoe size on file. And let me know your first impression of these Puma Ultras in the comments. See you next time, guys.